Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about Queen's Indian defense. Queen's Indian defense arises after the next move order. So d4, knight f6, c4, e6. In this position white has three options: knight c3, knight to f3, and g3. So in case of knight c3, the most unpleasant and the strongest continuation for black is bishop to b4. It is called Nimzo Indian defense. This is one of the best openings for black. And if white wants to avoid this opening, white has if we want to avoid this opening, we we need to start with knight to f3 here or g3. So and after g3, it is called usually black goes for d5, and it is called Catalan opening. And okay, and also but also after g3, more unpleasant is c5. And now in case of the most logical continuation and the most ambitious d5, black can take on d5, e takes d5, c takes d5, knight c3, g6, bishop g2, bishop g7, and now we receive a very good version of Benoni defense, and this is a fianchetto variation, and this system is quite comfortable for black to play. So for this reason, many strong players prefer knight f3 here. So and the only disadvantage of this move that black has a very interesting option, b6, and it is called Queen's Indian defense. The idea of this move is black wants to develop the bishop on b7 to strengthen the control, to put pressure on e4 square, and to strengthen the control under the e4 square. So in this defense, black doesn't be in a rush to play d5, and the idea and black's strategy is to develop the pieces, and then to attack the center with d5 or c5. Okay, and against Queen's Indian defense, white has two strategies. And first strategy is to develop the bishop on g2, and the second strategy is not to develop the bishop on this diagonal. And okay, a few words about the second strategy. White avoid fianchetto, and the most ambitious way for white here is to go for a3 move, or first knight c3, and then after bishop b7, a3. And it is called Petrosian system. The idea of this system is to occupy the center, to take under control e4 square. For example, bishop e7, now d5, and short castle, and e4. And this is a fantastic position for white. And in case of just simple normal move e6, d5, we see this position. We have some sort of King's Indian defense. But the difference that in King's Indian, black has a bishop on c8, and this bishop usually stay on g7 in King's Indian, and this is a much better square for the bishop. So in this position, black has to waste a lot of time to play bishops to improve this bishop and then to improve this bishop. So this is a white has a big positional advantage. Okay, and this is a Petrosian system. So a few words about e3. I don't like this move. I think that after bishop b7, d5, bishop d6, and this is a very comfortable position for black. Okay, the problem that this bishop is very passive in this system. So, okay, now I want to speak about g3. Here black has two strong possibilities. First is bishop a6, and the second is bishop to b7. So in case of bishop a6, my recommendation for white is to start with b3. Okay, then you can study, then you can learn queen a4 or queen c2, very interesting continuations. But okay, but first I think that my recommendation for my students is to start with b3 move. And in case of the, okay, also very typical idea for Queen's Indian to check and then bishop d2. The point that this bishop on d2 is very awkward position, and white has to spend time to improve this bishop. Okay, and now instead of, okay, there is nothing wrong, of course, with bishop g2, but here I recommend you to play knight c3, and the idea is to prepare for the e4 advance, and okay, and black has to play here d5 with the intention to prevent to stop e4 move, and after c takes d5 we take bishop g2. Okay, and this is a very typical position for this Queen's Indian and Catalan setup. And here I recommend you to very interesting idea to play bishop bishop yeah, play bishop bishop c1, knight b to d7, and then bishop to b2. So, and I discussed this position in my previous video about Catalan opening. Okay, and you can find this video in my YouTube channel, on my YouTube channel. Okay, and now a few words about bishop to b7. Bishop d2, bishop e7. Yeah, and here, of course, okay, the main idea for this is a very, the main idea for black is to fight with this central square. And for this reason, there is nothing. It's quite interesting for white to start with knight c3 immediately, and after short castle, queen c2, and this is a very interesting setup. But of course, and for example, and now in case of there is very strong idea. In case of c takes d5, it is very old theory, and now knight h4, very strong move. And then I want to take with c takes d5, and usually this type of position is very similar to Benoni-Fianchetto system, but the difference that, okay, for example, the difference that in Benoni-Fianchetto system, black's bishop is on g7, and okay, it's the same situation like it was in Petrosian system. So black has to waste a lot of time to improve this bishop b7 and to improve this bishop e7. So what else? Also, there is nothing wrong with short castle, and now knight c3. And but now against knight e4, my recommendation is to play bishop d2. I think that this is the strongest continuation here. Okay, white um, white accept to trade this to give up this bishop, but more important that white wants to occupy the center, and in case of this, um, white is slightly better. Despite the bishop pair advantage, white is slightly better because this bishop on b7 is very passive, and it is quite difficult for black here to find some good counterplay, because in case of the main plan is c5, but white is very well prepared for this. White is and so to take on c5 in the right moment, and we see this hanging pawns. Okay. And also very interesting continuation is rook e1. This is a waiting move. The idea that after this, white has a very strong continuation, knight f2 d2. The knight is pinned, and okay, and it's not good position for black here. In case of this move, we take, and this pawn structure is very favorable for white. And now we can play just b3 and then bishop b2, and this is what this position I discussed in my video about a Catalan opening. And in case of c5, good continuation. White has a very good idea, d5, and now knight h4. Okay, you have to remember this. This is very typical for Queen's Indian. Typical idea how to beat Queen's Indian. Okay, and in case of this, take. Again, and now we have some sort of Benoni defense, and I like this position for white. I think it's okay for both sides. I recommend you to play this position. There are a lot of games, and you can study them to understand more deeply the ideas, the middle game. Okay, and so okay, finally, the conclusion that against Queen's Indian, white has two strategies. First is to develop the bishop on g2, so fianchetto variation it is called. It is very good strategy for positional, for those players who like slow chess. And the second strategy is not to develop the bishop on g2. Most ambitious is Petrosian system, and this system is very is for those who want to play dynamic chess, who likes to attack king.